I'm Polly. I'm a mom, a wife, a pelvic floor physical therapist, and founder of No Kegels University. I have helped thousands of women stop leaking, enjoy intimacy, and feel proud of their bodies, even after having kids. After years of listening to women wonder why no one talks about leaking, how they should properly recover after having a baby, and that pleasurable intimacy is possible, I started to get real frustrated because I believe that no mom or woman should struggle when there are answers. It became my mission to shed light on the lack of postpartum care and the lack of discussion on issues that relate to women and their health, even if they can be uncomfortable sometimes. It also became my mission to change the conversation on women's health, the pelvic floor, and more. Here we go. Episode 24, Thriving with an Endometriosis Mindset. So this is an episode that I went back and forth on if it was necessary. But as I had been thinking this whole month of what I wanted to present to you, what I felt would be most helpful for you, I also thought back to the fact that one of the things that I do occasionally, or maybe even more often than what I'm aware of, is that sometimes I like to share unpopular opinions, or I'll share polarizing ideas. But then I ask myself also, okay, well, what has helped me the most and what has helped my patients the most? And it's that, your mindset. And I know that that sounds super cliche because lately I feel like everywhere I turn around, it's your mindset, it's your mindset, it's your brain, it's your thoughts, it's your mindset. And while this is really true, I feel like this is such a topic that is needed for the endometriosis community, but I also think it's one that is probably really hard to implement. A couple months ago, I had heard one of my mentors talk about an experience that she had with her stomach pain. And she wasn't very elaborative on what her actual condition was, so I don't really know. But she did hint that sometimes her stomach pain would pop up, and she never had any idea that it was going to come, and a lot of times it would ruin her plans. And as she's sharing some of the details of this story, especially this particular day, I was thinking, oh, that's exactly how my endo is. I hate that. And my brain went down this path of feeling like a victim. I felt very much like a martyr, like nobody knows how I struggle. And as she continued on with the story, she talked about one of the things that really helped her manage this pain. And rather than forming an opinion about all of this and how it was wrecking her day and not wanting to be a victim to it, which kind of put me in my tracks a little bit, she said, okay, body, I guess we're doing pain today. You must really need something extra. What is it? What do you need today? And when she was saying this, I thought, why are you going to ask your body? Your body's not even taking care of you. Are you kidding me? It's giving you pain. It's wrecking your day. It's not letting you be productive. And she continued on talking about how our brain, it's very easy and it's actually natural for it to want to go down a negative thought pattern because it's easy. It's the path of least resistance. That's something that we all know. And she said, I think I should give my body what it needs because it does a lot of other things for me. It helps me be a mother. It helps me run my business. It helps me go on walks to enjoy a beautiful day. It allows me to drive a car. It houses my brain, which helps me think. And really, I'm smart. So thank you, brain. And she went on and on about all of these things that her body did for her. And I thought, oh, that's true. It's just one day that's, her body's not being very good to her. And I continued on with this, and I've thought a lot about this, especially as in the last 6 to 9 months, my endo flares have continued to increase. And I have started to adopt some of this mindset that as soon as I feel the pain coming, I exercise some gratitude of all the things that my body lets me do, even despite the pain that it is giving me. And then I say, okay, body, I guess we're doing pain today. What do you need from me? And call this a spiritual moment, call this an earthly or an energy moment. I don't know what you'd call it, but as weird as it sounds, if I sit quiet enough, it tells me. There's some days that I can tell, I think I need more nourishment. I need more foods that are going to give my body nutrients. There's some days that I can just tell that my body wants to sleep more. And so I let it. And there's some days where my body says, just walk gently or stretch. And I do it and it works. And while you don't necessarily have to believe me about this spiritual moment or energy exchange between me and my body, but it's something that I'm not saying you have to do it exactly like me, but changing my mindset around my flares has allowed me almost this sense of freedom with my flares. And if I entitled this episode, Freedom with Your Endo Flares, nobody would, I don't know, maybe it might be a clickbait, but that's not something that I would believe necessarily. So maybe that is a clickbait. I don't know if I'm that great at those types of things to trick you into listening, but it has allowed me some freedom in the sense that I'm not mad at my body for doing this. I'm just giving it what it needs. So it's almost like a service day, if you will, for my body, rather than sitting there and being mad and negative and talking crap to it. Because in those months following hearing this story about how she would say, okay, body, I guess we're just going to do pain today. And what do you need from me? I realized that the story, and I can't remember, I've heard it go different ways, but if you take two plants and you talk crap and you say negative things to it, and then the other one you say positive, kind, uplifting things to, and at the end of the month, the one that you said all the negative things to is dying and looks very fragile, but the other one is thriving and prospering as a plant. And I wondered, what if I spoke more kindly to my body when it was being terrible to me? What if I really started to wonder, okay, how can I serve this body and even say nice, kind things to it? Which in the beginning, I'll tell you, is a challenge. And I'll even be honest and say, I'm not 100% at this. But like I said in the beginning of this episode, one of the things that I notice, and I'm going to be stereotypical in here, this might not apply to you, but what that is I notice that there can be a lot of victim mentality and martyrdom mentality that surrounds endo. And while I think that it takes way too long for someone to get diagnosed and the quality of care for most seeking help for their endometriosis, or at least their pain until they get the diagnosis, that's not what I'm here to talk about, because to some degree, there's not a lot that we get to control, but we do get to control how our brain is. And if that really is a true principle, that talking kindly to that plant, this living organism, allowed it to prosper and thrive, what if we did that to our own bodies? I'm not saying that that's going to cure our endometriosis, but would it allow us a lesser range of an endo flare? Would it allow us a little bit less of pain? If that's the case, sign me up. That's what I want. And also, talking kindly to your body because it does allow us to do a lot of other things. And while I do get pretty frustrated at mine because I have a very full life and I'm a mother to 2 toddlers, this same body that's not behaving very well sometimes also lets me lift up my little girl and my little boy, and sometimes at the same time. And this body lets me run and chase them, and this body lets me snuggle them in bed, and this body allows my brain to function so I can answer their questions and think of funny things and funny stories to say or do. This body still lets me do a lot of really good things, even though sometimes I get mad at it. And if you've noticed, the theme of this month, especially with the Thrive with Endo exercise series that I've mentioned before, but that's what I think that we can have for us. It's possible. We can thrive with endo. We can. And you're a lot more than your endo. And I don't know about you, but a disease that I didn't choose, I am not going to let it control my life. And if you happen to be a control freak like me that wants control over every tiny little piece, you bet that I'm going to talk kindly as much as I can to my body so that it's doing the right things, because I'm not going to hand over that control to it. I'm just not. And I want you to think about your own life. If you didn't while I was telling you about all those wonderful things that my own body does, I want you to ask yourself those questions, and I want you to write them down. And I might do it when you're not. I would start to do this on a day that you feel pretty good. Because on the days you feel pretty bad, I want you to be able to at least make it easier for yourself the first couple of times to go back to that list. I want you to think about all that you have in your life. I want you to think about all the things that your body lets you do. I want you to think about all the people that you have in your life and how that body lets you interact with them. There's a lot of things. And if you need help with that list, ask a friend, ask a family member. And if you don't have one of those that you think would tell you the truth, or that you just aren't sure you want to entrust this type of exercise or activity to, then message me on Instagram and I would be more than happy to help you. I want you to be able to thrive with endo. And I strongly believe that your mindset has a huge role in it, because you didn't choose this life. So don't let this endo choose what your life looks like. For the homework for this episode is, I want you to sit down and write down at least 10 things that you are glad or that you notice that your body lets you do. And these are positive things. The second thing, if you haven't signed up for the free Thrive with Endo exercise series, do so in the show notes, because in a few days, the whole exercise series, it's a 4-week series, it will start getting sent to your email. And sometimes movement or exercise is tough when you're having endo. And this series, this mini program, if you will, it's free. I don't know how much more I can emphasize that. It's free to you. It's going to help you build a framework for movement, exercise, all of those things, no matter what flare, no matter what phase or stage of endo that you're in. And if you want some more specific help, then check the show notes, then schedule a personalized pelvic floor plan with me. Remember, you're an heiress and a queen and everything in between. If you enjoyed this episode or even wondered if I can help you, check the show notes for more details. And to see what else I'm up to, follow me on the socials at BeyondTheV by Polly. Because I'm changing the conversation on women's health, the pelvic floor, and more, I still need your help. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend or two. See you next week.